When I hold this mug up, it's not that heavy. At most, maybe a pound or two. And I could probably hold it pretty long. But the longer I hold it, the heavier it's going to get. And eventually, it's going to weigh my arm down, and I'm not going to really be able to hold it up much. Now, the exact same is true about our emotions. When you feel frustrated or stressed, it only happens for the first few moments. It really doesn't feel like that much. But when you hold on to these negative emotions, fear, doubt, worry, stress, anxiety, it starts to hold a lot of weight, and eventually you may break. And if you continue to hold on to these negative emotions without processing them, without finding ways around them, without dealing with the core cause, eventually they're going to weigh heavy. Because you may have that fear once in a while. You may look to the future, get a little anxious, and not think much of it. Hope that it'll eventually just go away. But every time you just push it, hope that it'll go away, and maybe you'll figure out a way to deal with it in the future, you're just adding on the weight. And eventually, it's going to weigh down pretty heavy. So how do we work to overcome these negative emotions? How do we work to make sure it doesn't weigh down on us? Because the issue isn't that it's there. The issue isn't that we have it initially. The issue becomes when we don't let ourselves put it down and no longer have to hold on to it. Now, one of the key ways we could begin working with dealing with overcoming these negative emotions is just by being as present as possible. We only really create fear and anxiety when we're looking towards the future, and regret, guilt, and shame when we're looking at the past. When you're looking at the present, you're not creating any problems or negative emotions. The only time we create problems for us in the present is when we are thinking about how something we're doing now may affect us in the future, or what we could have done in the past and how it affects us now. Keeping present is what allows us to be free of these negative thoughts. That's not to say those future situations don't still exist. That's not to say you still don't have those past situations that may have been rough. But if we are not dealing with them, there's no reason for us to mull over them, to sit and just feel the weight of these on top of us. When we just let them sit on top of us, the guilt and shame of the past, we're not doing anything to improve ourselves, and we're focused on something we can no longer control. Nothing ever happened in the past, and nothing's ever happened in the future. Everything's happened right now in this present moment. So when we can focus on the present moment, when we can be aware of what we are going through and how we are perceiving everything around us, we begin to work through these negative patterns of emotions. And now once we go through these negative patterns, once we're looking at them, we need to truly reflect on them and why we have them. If we don't reflect back on them and understand why we feel that way, what belief we hold that's causing us to have guilt or shame or have fear and anxiety, it's going to be a continuous loop that we feel like we can never escape. So when you reflect back and you see those moments, we need to create better beliefs so that we can overcome them. Because if you continue to have the same beliefs of your old self, you have beliefs that you need to be guilty or ashamed of something you did, or beliefs that you have fear or worry about anxiety about certain scenarios, you're going to keep that feedback loop going for the rest of your life. And I want you to truly ask yourself, is that something you want for the rest of your life? Or do you want to be able to overcome these emotions? I remember when I was on my initial business journey for the first year, there were weeks of extreme pain, of dread, of anxiety, of worry about whether I was going to succeed, of shame that I hadn't already made more progress. And I had weeks that were unbearable to the point to where I just no longer wanted to continue on with this business and doing what I was doing. But eventually, the more I became aware and the more I reflected on these negative beliefs, I soon realized they were just beliefs I just needed to transform. If it was a belief about once I get clients in business, I'm going to have to fulfill, and what if I don't fulfill? It was I take responsibility for that which I have control over. I put my best into everything that I do, and I release the outcome. I'm not concerned with the results. I'm concerned with my inputs. And these beliefs, as we stack them up and create new ones that create the new identity that we want to embody, allow us to overcome these negative emotions. We no longer get trapped in the past or the future because we're creating beliefs that not only allow us to stay present, but allow us to better future pace what we're going to be doing and better ways to view the past. Because we're going to look back. We're going to look forward. It's inevitable. But if we can look at them on a better perspective, be grateful and feel like everything that has happened to us is just a blessing that we had to go through to be where we are now, and that everything we are doing now is going to create our success, and we're extremely excited for the path that we are on, we'll take better action, not be so guilty or ashamed or worried about what we previously did, not worried, afraid, or whatever it might be about what we're going to do, and be present and focus on what we're doing now, guys. You see how this all links together? These beliefs allow us to be more present. And when we are more present, we take better action to see the results. These emotions that you let weigh you down are just holding you back. It's like a chain that's not letting you go. And you have the ability to break yourself free. We can break ourselves free by creating these better beliefs that allow us to stay present. And like we talked about, when we're present, we're not creating problems. We only create problems when we are looking at the future or looking at the past. And so we need to gain a level of awareness about these things in the past that have triggered us, about these things in the future. Write them down. We need to know what it is that has made us feel bad in the past, made us anxious for the future, so that we can identify what beliefs we need to instill. And to identify what beliefs we need to instill, all you have to do is flip that negative belief, that thing that has made you worried, fearful, and flip it to something positive. So when I was getting started, I felt very, ashamed that I had not made more progress. I would look back on the past few months and say, man, I just haven't taken action. Man, I feel bad about that. Man, what if I just don't take the right action now and then that affects my future? I've just talked about fear or guilt about the past, and now it's a fear about the future. So if that's my fear and that's what I'm guilty for, let me then create a belief that empowers me. Well, I focus on my inputs and know that my inputs create the outcome that I want to see. I love the inputs. I love taking action every single day because I know it creates the person that will achieve my results. I know that everything happens for a reason, and so I never wonder why I have to go through any experiences. I embrace challenges and know that they will help me reach my ultimate goal. If I had those three beliefs the day I started my business, I probably would have been a lot farther. But I know I had to go through these experiences so that I could get where I am today and be where I'm at. And so we need to look back on the past as blessings and be grateful for it and create beliefs from that that are going to allow us to have a better future and create the best version of ourselves we can now. Because we can only take this action today. I don't want you to tell yourself you're going to do this later. I don't want you to tell yourself you're going to take time, later this week. And no, because you know what ends up happening? When we tell ourselves we're going to figure something out later, we're going to deal with the emotions that have been weighing us down. We're going to start meditating and be more present tomorrow. We have really good excuses that run through our mind for why we shouldn't. The brain likes what it is. The brain actually really likes that you're weighed down by that mug. It really enjoys it. And you may wonder why. Well, you enjoy what you've been comfortable with. You've held this mug for your entire life and you've never put it down. And now your arm is barely able to hold it up because we've let these emotions completely control us. Our brain doesn't realize that as soon as we put it down, how amazing it's going to feel. It might feel uncomfortable at first. We might have to stretch out a bit. We may feel strange because we've been conditioned to feel like this our entire life. But I promise you, as soon as you begin working on these negative beliefs, these negative perspectives, and let yourself release these emotions, you will transform your life and it will be so much easier to move forward. Imagine if you didn't feel the fear. Imagine if you didn't feel the shame. Imagine if you didn't feel the guilt. Imagine if you didn't worry. And it blows my mind because I've been at the stage to where I've not had these feelings for months and months. I understand that all I need to do is create beliefs that serve me. But when we have beliefs that do not serve us, beliefs that empower us to continue holding on to the mug and not making progress towards our goals, it's going to hold us back. It's going to affect us for our entire life. You're going to face challenges. You're going to face hard times. You're going to have these emotions that try to weigh you down forever. I'll be honest about that. It's not that situations don't pop up that have the potential to trigger me. It's that I no longer carry it on my back. I've gotten good at releasing it, of letting it go, of understanding everything is happening for a great reason, that everything I do today is going to influence a better tomorrow, and that I am creating the best version of myself. And so, what can you do today, right now, in the present moment that is going to allow you to begin making that progress for yourself and release that mug and put it down? Because there's no point carrying it forever. Nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants their life to be complete chaos. But when you've been used to that your entire life and you don't do anything to change it, you're going to continue that feedback loop and you're going to live thinking suffering's the only way. So take action now. Reflect on what has held you back, what you've been afraid of, what you're ashamed of, and what beliefs you can hold that are going to allow you to be the best version of yourself and absolutely achieve your greatest success. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, I have a free community down below. Just click the link in the description and join on in to gain more amazing information. If you enjoyed, make sure to also subscribe. It does mean a lot. I will catch you guys in the next one. God bless.